Sure.
All right. All right. So now it's 7 o'clock, so I will call the meeting to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Davis. Present. Councilmember Hagedorn. Councilmember Kerr. Here. Councilmember Parmet.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Here.
Councilmember Fitzgerald. Mayor Riley.
Present.
There are 7 members present.
Great, thank you. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your hands. Opposed? Motion is carried. We're now into communications with council, and anyone can speak to council if they would like. I would like to please do not talk about the 2 items that are on the second reading of ordinances, because we'll have a public hearing on those, but anything else is fair game. If you'd like to speak, please step up to the podium and state your name and where you live or work in Keystone. And if you're online, please indicate to the online monitor. Is there anyone online wishing to speak? There is not Maddie or Gabby. Is there anyone online?
Not that I can see.
All right. Seeing that there's no one ready to speak tonight, then communications to council is closed. We then come to the consent agenda, and includes the first reading of the ordinance 2024 014, minutes of the last meeting, and 2 items, a class 2 site permit for Kindred and a class 2 sign permit for Steep. Is there anything anyone would like to remove from the consent agenda? Councilmember Parmet.
I move to remove ordinance 2024-014 from the consent agenda and place the ordinance under ordinances as first reading ordinance on new business.
Is there a second? Councilmember Fitzgerald. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of removing ordinance 2024 014 from the consent agenda, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion is carried. Can I have a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda? Councilmember Parmet. So moved. Is there a second? Councilmember Hagenhout. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda with the 1 item removed, please raise your hand. All opposed? Motion is carried. We now move into a new business. The first item is the item that was just removed from the consent agenda of ordinance 2024 ordinance 2024-0-14. Councilmember Kerr.
I move to approve ordinance number 2024-0-14, first reading with 2 amendments. 1, to clarify that the lodging tax is levied on the purchase price of the lodging and levied on the date of the lodging stay. And secondly, to revise the language in section 8 so that it is identical to the ballot language for the spending of revenue from lodging tax.
Is there a second? Councilmember Parmet.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, does this require a roll call?
No.
All right. Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor of the two amendments, please raise your, for the amendment, please raise your hands.
That's in the motion.
Oh, the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raise your hand. Opposed? The motion is carried. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing on ordinance 2024-12, the model involving the model traffic code. Then will the clerk please read the title and subject matter into the record?
Ordinance 2024-0-12, an ordinance of Town Council of the Town of Keystone, Colorado, adopting by reference the 2024 edition of the Model Traffic Code of Colorado, promulgated by the Colorado Department of Transportation with amendments, and setting forth in full the penalty provisions for violations thereof.
I declare the public hearing open, and the following are the procedures for this hearing. We'll first hear a report from staff and the town manager on the draft ordinance. Then we'll take public comment on the budget. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. And neither the council or the town manager will answer questions or respond to your comments during the public hearing. Following the public hearing will be closed and the council will deliberate on the ordinance. Mr. Town Manager, can you give us an introductory presentation?
Yes, I'm going to let our town attorney, Jennifer Manson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jennifer Matson, the town attorney. So this ordinance is adopted by reference for we talked previously at federal work sessions about the model code. What it is essentially PDOT puts it together. It is a manual that is consistent with the state traffic code. So it easily allows local jurisdictions to easily adopt those state traffic laws in their jurisdiction. So 2024 model traffic code is really up to date with all of the state traffic laws through 2023. What this ordinance also does is includes provisions, new state laws that were adopted by the General Assembly in 2024. And those are added in the ordinance as amendments to the model traffic. There's a couple of those amendments. One is for updates related to the automated vehicle identification system. Another one is related to revision to use of model electronic devices. And then there is a third related to the new state law regarding motorcycle lane filtering. The ordinance in front of you also adds provisions that are Keystone unique. They might also be in other jurisdictions, but that is a new section related to prohibiting engine brakes. There are also some parking restrictions in the ordinance. And that really covers the substantive changes to the model traffic code and conditions. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Council has any questions to staff? Councilmember Kirk?
So we have discussed this, we like this idea. Could you clarify, one of you, town manager, clarify what is the impact of adopting this model traffic code on our ability to designate routes for APIS or to actually issue?
You'll need to take additional steps
Yes.
to implement that automated vehicle identification system. You would need to contract with an entity that would provide the citations, issue citations, put up cameras. So more work needs to be done if council would like to go that direction.
But it doesn't have to be part of this, those are just collective steps.
Yes, which would be steps taken later in time.
So there's a part that says the town cannot locate vehicles on the highway of a federal interstate highway system, but the state can do so. And I think if I'm reading it, tell me if I'm reading it wrong, the fines would go to the state highway.
I'd have to look at that. Can you tell me where you're reading?
I wish I could. I did right. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that in all that much detail.
The second part of this, and maybe to bring about, the town could locate Davis on a something that's not an interstate. For example, on, is that accurate?
Yeah.
We can decide which designated route.
Yeah.
It's just a question about that.
Any other questions to say? In that case, we now are entering the public comment period. Again, anyone would like to provide public comment, I would ask you to please come to the podium, state your name and where you live or work in Keystone, and it'll be the same procedure online. If anyone, please indicate to a monitor if you'd like to speak. Hearing no public comment, I'm now closing the public hearing, and the ordinance is now open for discussion among the councilmen. Any discussion? In that case, can I have a motion? Councilmember Sullivan.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-012, an ordinance of town council of Keystone, Colorado, adopting by reference the 2024 edition of Mount Frederica, Colorado, promulgated by the Colorado Department of Transportation with amendments and set forth the full and penalty provisions for violation thereof.
Is there a second? Councilmember Clement.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any debate or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call. Oh, I'm sorry.
So, there's a lot of stuff about private property and that will not be allowed. This doesn't put us in a position of the town on approved parking on HOA property. You don't accept that responsibility.
If it violates the ordinance, if somebody's parking interface that is violating the ordinance, the town would have the ability to tow.
That
Do not have to tow.
because one of the HOAs have that stuff. But I think this gives them the opportunity to just call up.
No, that is, the HOAs that have that sign up would be responsible for calling out the tow truck and having them be able to.
Okay. They do not have a sign up.
Then they do not have ability to, by statute, they don't have the ability to tow.
Yeah, the statute's really particular about this.
Can they call the town and say it's private property? Do something.
If it's not in the ordinance, I'm not recalling anything about prohibiting parking in private parking lots. If it's not there, then it's not. If that's the private property owner's responsibility.
Okay, that's. There's not.
Councilmember Clement.
Jumping back one moment, on page 15 of this ordinance, or page 50, packet number 8, I think that has the phrasing that Carol had asked about state highway funds. And it's a complex compound sentence.
Yes.
A little cause the cycle.
Say again the section, please.
It is section 8 on page 15 of the ordinance or page 50 of the packet. Starts with notwithstanding any provision of law.
The money doesn't stay how we fund it, it's on. State advantage.
If I could clarify, correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer. The state has the ability to put Avis on any state highway. So the state could put an Avis out here on Highway 6. If the state puts an Avis out there and collects funds, those,
They collect the money.
yeah, if we put one out there, it's my understanding, we collect.
That tracks with when I originally researched it. That's what I thought it said, but the final comment is written to cover everything. So.
Yeah, I think, well, I would prefer to look at it in more detail if you are answering specifically that question, but I know that this amendment did. And what I did was copy and paste it essentially, so I didn't read it verbatim, but, is it allows the municipality to work with CDOT on a state highway to put in place, an AVIS system. So it allows for a partnership, so that it's not just CDOT making a decision, oh, we don't want to put it there.
Thank you. That was my understanding for when this was first passed. Covered extensively.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, if we've had a motion. Call this vote, we will, clerk, please, call the roll.
Councilmember Davis. Approved. Councilmember Gagnon. Councilmember Kerr. Approved. Councilmember Barnett.
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Approved.
Councilmember Fiske. Approved. Mayor Riley.
Approved.
There are 7 votes to approve.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, ordinance 2024-13, to adopt basically 1041 codes. Will the councilor please read the title in the subject matter and the new record?
Ordinance 2024-0-13, the ordinance of Town Council of the Town of Keystone, Colorado, designating the site selection of arterial highways, interchanges, and collector highways, the site selection and construction of major new domestic water and sewage treatment systems, and major extension of existing domestic water and sewage treatment systems, and the site selection and construction of major facilities of a public utility as matters of state interest, and enacting the Town of Keystone areas and activities of state interest governing the designation, permitting, regulation, and administration of matters of state interest, and providing penalties for violations.
Thank you. I'll now declare the public hearing open. I've already described the process that we're going to be following for the public hearing. So now, Mr. Town Manager, would you please give us an introductory presentation?
Yes, I will let our Community Development Director, Lindsay Hirsch, along with our Town Attorney, Jennifer Matson, discuss this. Jennifer. Sure.
So this, again, is another topic area and ordinance that's been before council on several occasions. Talked about it on work sessions. I think starting all the way back in April and then in September of this year. Generally, 1041 regulations are a land use tool for municipalities. They're given the 1041 regulations give the local governments a seat at the table during review of particular type of development projects in the jurisdiction, even if the projects may have a statewide impact. So what this ordinance does that's before you tonight is it designates specific activities of state interest. So the state allows designate areas of state interest or activities of state interest. And this ordinance designates 3 different areas. They're the site selection and construction of major domestic water and sewage treatment systems, and major extension of existing domestic water and sewage treatment systems, site selection of arterial highways and interchanges and collector highways, and then site selection and construction of major facilities of the public utility. We did provide notice of this designation to various different entities that could be affected and or implicated by the designation of those activities. And with that designation, also this ordinance adopts regulations specific to those activities of state interest. So those regulations provide a process for an entity engaging in one of those different activities to follow, engage in a pre-application meeting, town staff reviews the information, decide whether the project will have a significant impact, or not a significant impact. If there would be a significant impact, then the entity needs to go through the 41 application process and would need to obtain a permit. The completed application is provided to the Planning and Zoning Commission for review and recommendation. And then the town council would hold a quasi-judicial public hearing on that application. The process really there's a balance in the process that is included in the 1041 regulations. And it's really for those significant projects that would have a great impact on the town, to give the town council an opportunity to review, maybe impose conditions for permits and decide whether to issue a permit. So that's basically an outline of the designation, the ordinance, and then the ordinance's adoption of those 1041 regulations.
Any council member have a question? In that case, at this time, I'm going to allow for public comment. And again, please limit your comments to 3 minutes and step up to the podium or raise your hand if you're online to speak. Since we have no public comment that's been offered, I'll now close the public hearing and open open for discussion or the ordinance. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I will call for a vote and we'll declare. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Actually,
Stella,
yeah, go ahead.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-0-13. Deep breath. An ordinance designating the site selection of arterial highways, interchanges, and collector highways, site selection and construction of major new domestic water and sewage treatment systems, and major extension of existing domestic water and sewage treatment systems, and the site selection and construction of major facilities of public utility as matters of state interest, enacting the town of Keystone areas and activities of state.
There's that second. Councilmember Sullivan is seconded. Again, is there any discussion or debate? Now, I will, hearing no interest in discussion or debate, I will call the question and will the clerk please call the roll.
Councilmember Fagin,
Yes.
Councilmember Byrd.
Approve.
Councilmember Farhan.
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Approved.
Councilmember Fitzgerald. Councilmember Davis.
Approve.
Mayor Riley.
Aye.
There are 7 votes to approve.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-68, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Keystone, Colorado, approving amended town bylaws. And they all open for discussion. Or would you like me to put it in?
For the 6th time, I will allow our attorney Jennifer Mix to lead this discussion.
Okay, this is the last one. So, all right, so this is, approval of the amended town council bylaw. This is one that you all have talked about on a number of occasions. This version that's in front of you tonight includes a revision that was discussed on October 22nd. And that related to the bullet point that's on page 4 of the staff report regarding that the mayor shall work to ensure that no more than 3 members are remote at any time. And so how I handled that was to remove the language that I had, revise the language related to quorum. Quorum is not just people in person. It also includes people who are electronically participating. So quorum considers everybody who's present in person or electronically. This revision is then on section 2.8D, and I added a sentence to say the mayor shall strive to ensure that no more than 3 members of town council participate electronically at any given time. And the other changes were ones that we discussed on October 22nd.
Now, any questions for our staff? In that case, can I, any discussion on the motion? Councilmember Fisker.
I'm going to go ahead and concede this out because we all know once it's an item on the town council agenda, it's booked. But I do have desire to vehemently reinforce my opposition on the record. It's my belief that these changes undermine the original intent, integrity, and propositions.
Formal statement for the record.
Yes. Yes.
You make a statement, and if afterwards, we provide that to the clerk, that she'll ensure it's in the minute.
That's great. Okay. Do you want me to start?
Go ahead and start over.
I want to vehemently reinforce my opposition on the record. I believe these changes undermine the original intent, integrity, and the propositions that was now and approved. I do feel gas with the members of the Charter Commission serving on the council. It's obvious this will the original intent of the charter. This moves to pose potential unintended consequences, the integrity of the council. All of this for very self-serving justification. It's disappointing that the council doesn't have a ability charging statements. This and other moves by the council statements.
Is there any other discussion? In that case, may I have a motion? Councilmember Sullivan.
Yeah, I move to approve the resolution 2024 68. The resolution by Council of the Town of Keystone, approving the Town Council bylaws.
Is there a second? Councilmember Kerr. Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Councilmember Permit.
I cannot believe how much time we spent on this. This is a simple majority vote. In the future, the problems that I suppose was meant to address, should they present, we'll simply change it by another majority vote.
Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. And this does not require, well, I'll call for a roll call vote. So will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Kerr. Approved. Councilmember Cormac.
If you are not voting or abstaining, then for the record, we'll have to state that you have refused to vote in accordance with Bob's rules.
Refusing to vote in accordance with Bob's rules.
Yep. Please enter that into the record.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Approved.
Councilmember Vista.
Denied.
Councilmember Davis.
Approved.
Councilmember Agnew.
Approved.
There are 4 votes to approve. Oh, I'm sorry. Mayor Riley.
Approved.
There are 5 votes to approve, 1 vote to deny, and 1 member refusing to vote.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2024-70, a resolution of the Town Council of Town of Keystone, Colorado, authorizing an intergovernmental agreement for continuation of services by Summit County and consenting to enforcement of Summit County regulations. Mr. Town Manager?
And our community development director, Lindsay Hirsch, will take this.
So I believe we have spoken on this issue a couple times over the course of the year regarding the IGA. This portion of the IGA is specific to the building department services. And basically, the IGA that is currently in place expires year, and based on the last 9 months worth of work with the county's building department and myself and staff, I think it's worked quite well. And certainly I'd like to continue on with another year utilizing the county's building department and gather more data with regards to the process. We could certainly explore other avenues. That would very likely be a private entity, a third-party entity to retain. But again, I think it would be premature to do that at this juncture because it is working very well. And in fact, with the exception of one complaint, everyone, all the contractors I dealt with is quite frankly surprised of how quick they just run around the permits from their side. So again, I'd like to continue on with this with the county building department. It's working. In fact, I believe it's working quite well. And I gave you a copy of the IGA. It is very close to what is currently existing. There aren't any really financial considerations. It is structured exactly 10% as it currently is. And as such, I have given the hearing to open doors as well as everyone did not. Again, staff recommendation is to approve it. And do you have any, and as far as attachments to that, IGA isn't have to be referenced. So, with that being said, do you have any questions or comments from staff?
Any questions or comments? Councilmember Davis.
Is this an automatic annual renewal, or is the, and you mentioned that you want to give it another year, which I think makes a lot of sense. But is there an automatic renewal, and if you're not happy with the year, or is there an?
Yes, there is now, it is structured, there is automatic renewal, but we don't have to exercise the, the date is the 30 days.
Councilmember Kerr.
Thank you for that rundown. Could you clarify the part of it? About enforcing county regulations. Is that specifically?
So with regard to the IGA, it'd be specific to enforcing building code oriented regulations.
Other questions? Can I have a motion? Councilmember Kerr.
I'm going to approve resolution 2024-70, authorizing intergovernmental for continuation of stock services with Summit County and consenting to enforcement of Summit County regulations.
Is there a second? Councilmember Davis.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any? Excuse me, any discussion or debate? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving resolution 2024-70, please raise your hands. Opposed? Motion is carried by a vote of 7-0. The next item on the agenda is resolution 2024-71, a resolution of the town council of the town of Keystone, Colorado, approving maintenance of certain roads. Mr. Town Manager?
So this is the item we discussed in the workshop, where the town is going to take responsibility for St. John Road, Decatur Hill Road, Tennis Club Road, Elksboro Lane, Gondola Road, Antlers Gulch Road, Laurel Grande, River Road, Plymouth Drive, Jerkin Drive, West Independence Road, Independence Lane, and East Independence Road. This resolution instructs staff to take the necessary steps to take to the town to assume maintenance responsibility for these roads. That's contracting with issues in certain cases, as in Tennis Club, it's ensuring we have a public right of way dedicated. And as mentioned earlier, this is phase one of council's instructions to bring equity to road maintenance in town of Keystone. We do not anticipate that this will be the end of the town assuming maintenance, but it is what we are prepared to do at this time. Any questions?
Any questions, Councilmember Fiske?
I just want to clarify, when we spoke about it during the work session, you mentioned that you had initiated a report on the road and that this winter we were going to assume snowplow maintenance and then at a later date consider full road maintenance. Are these roads grandfathered in for full road maintenance or is this?
Our town Keystone standards.
Okay,
So at this point, the town staff is going to go forward with ensuring snowplow on the roads, and then once we get the road report, assuming these roads meet standards, they will be grandfathered in. If they don't, there'll be another discussion with the town council.
Any other questions? Councilmember Pagano?
Yes, please.
Certainly. These roads were identified as public right of ways that are built to town Keystone standards. As I said, we're going to have to wait till springtime to actually determine if the roads all meet that standard. And is either a road serving as a major arterial route? Is a road serving a major public transportation route? Or is a road that provides access to town Keystone facilities and spaces?
Any other questions, Councilmember Kerr?
Mr. Crown, you probably have to see the map. That's very helpful for us. Are we going to post that online?
Sure.
And then when does this go?
This will go into effect immediately.
Immediately for this. for the town staff to begin working to take over maintenance effective January 1st.
Correct.
So January first is when the plumber gets back.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call the questions. Excuse me, give me a motion. Councilmember Hagan.
I move to approve resolution one resolution of the town of Keystone, or town of Keystone, Colorado, approving maintenance of the roads.
Is there a second? Councilmember Davis.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Now, hearing no discussion or debate, I'll call the question. All those in favor of resolution 2024 71, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Motion is carried unanimously by a vote of 7-0. And the next item on the agenda is report of mayor and council. And all right, report of manager staff. Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep this relatively short, even though we have 3 weeks between meetings, that's sort of part of those called. So it's really a report of 2 weeks. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had several meetings with the county on the development of the emergency evacuation plan. We've had a housing authority, where the housing authority attorney, there are limitations. The money we get from the housing authority and the limitations are, there are 2 different taxes that form that money. So we should be getting a report really outlining in detailed specification on how housing authority money can be spent and breaking it into the various taxes. I think it's 6A and 5A or something like that. As I mentioned earlier, Public Works Director and I met with CDOT over the Razor Drive intersection. Very illuminating conversation. And we will be moving forward now on a solution to some extent. It won't answer all our questions, all the problems at this point, but it should make the Razor Drive intersection significantly safer for pedestrians and motor vehicles turning on and off Highway 6. CDOT, TPR. Well, first of all, the vote for the Transportation Commission on whether we're going to be divided into 2 separate TPRs will be coming up very soon. So we'll see how that shakes out. They postponed the vote in early July. We proposed breaking the Intermountain TPR to 2 different TPRs and consolidating the 2 southeastern TPRs. The 2 southeastern TPRs, even consolidated, will be the smallest TPR of the 13 in the state, even after consolidation by any measurement except for square miles of the area covered, but by highway miles, by miles traveled, by population. Currently, the Intermountain TPR is the largest TPR in the state. The big metro areas have a different CDOT planning structure. At the IMTPR, for the first time, the town of Keystone is going to have priorities in road funding in the coming years. We're identifying the 3 main intersections, East Keystone Road, Razor Drive, and Godwin Road, Montezuma Road as problem areas that will need to be funded and rebuilt in the future. Yes.
Keystone, West Keystone.
West Keystone, no, it's east. Yeah, not west.
You knew I'd catch that.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of happy that actually
Yeah.
finally have our concerns around this. It doesn't mean they'll be solved or funded, but it does give us a chance, which we never had before.
That's the first step that has to be taken in order to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited about that. We've had some meetings about severe winter weather planning, just county emergency operations, so we're prepared. When that happens, had a meeting with DOLA about our comprehensive plan grant. They're finalizing the contract for that, so we should get our money and give our consultant who will be meeting there. Well, if we approve, then we will be meeting at the next meeting. We're bringing in the SB group, correct?
Correct.
Was the planning commission's recommendation.
But we won't have an opportunity to approve it before we have the work session one, correct?
Correct.
So
So it hasn't been, nothing's been
it's approved. You just said that we have an opportunity after we approved it. Yeah.
I mean, we'll have an opportunity if we approve, whoever we approve.
We are going to meet them next time. The guidance to staff.
Yes. Council approves this group, then we'll be ready to enter into contracts with development. Very soon.
Is there any rehab material that would be helpful
Yeah.
for us to see before we meet them?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna forward on to you, how they responded with those.
I did meet with the Oro Grande HOA, and the North Fork Inlanders, I'm not sure. North Fork River Estates Association. We have upcoming meetings with Ironwood Tennis Townhomes, Clearwater Lofts, and Starfire. I also have meetings coming up with the SEHA and an economic development group. Obviously, the big news is our elections. Both ballot questions put forward by this council were approved pending the canvass, which could take up until November 25th, I believe. The comp plan, I'm going to go to this next meeting with the SE group. They'll be here to meet with you all and discuss their plans and see if you want to go that way. Our town party, holiday party is also going to be privately hosted holiday party. Thank you so much, Dan, and December 5th. Really looking forward to that, and I will reiterate any help you need, please. As I discussed earlier, we were not able to get our roads assessment done. Winter. Miss it by that much. We've been in contact with Excel about finishing at least for the season. There's still a bad patch on Sutter Ridge Road that needs to be fixed so we can plow it to where manhole cover is. They are coming out later this week, and hopefully any repair should be completed in the next week or so. On that particular thing, it's not the end of the repairs that I have. Next spring, they're going to come by and mill and repave all of the work they've done, but it will be enough to get us through the winter. It's after our next meeting, but just for everyone to know, Thanksgiving town hall will be closed Thanksgiving Day and the day after Thanksgiving. Town manager at no town hall is also closed down. That means, like showing up here, just wondering where all my staff is. We had, the mayor and I attended the mayor's managers and commissioners meeting. Recently, where we just, two main items for discussion were, dissection of what went wrong with the school districts, the other question. And then an off-topic discussion here and concerns about possible changes to upcoming immigration policies and how that will affect our local businesses. And that's all I've got.
Did you want the chamber town
Oh,
picture?
yes, we have a chamber town mixer coming up. Is that November 5th? I can pull that up.
Pass. 19.
19th. November 19th. Oh, you're right.
Where?
It is way past November here. So November 19th, we'll be holding it right here.
Did you say that time yet?
Not yet. I reached out to them. Okay, it's at a time, it'll probably be a lunch.
Could you expand on that a little bit more than the missed it conversation?
It's the chamber, is the local Keystone businesses to just come and mixer. They reached out to the town. I met with the mayor, Councilmember Kerr, a couple of months ago with the chamber. And we just see this as a way to let businesses have a voice and be heard. We'll see how it shakes out. But this is the first chance of organizing as a municipality to businesses.
Are you asking for council?
Yes, we'll leave it. And I'll definitely get everyone.
This is a dual effort. Originally, remember when we were all volunteering to go to that, volunteer to go to the chamber. Then, and they were just talking about trying to organize the Keystone area. Mayor, the manager, town manager, and I have proposed this because it will be a tool. We want to have that business forward, and they want to have some inroads into the Keystone businesses. So this will be a first step. See what this.
The original one that posted this in September, correct? Or no,
Had a few days.
quite a few days. This is best, it's after opening, so business owners are not very much trying to get last minute details fixed, but it's before the big crowds hit. So business owners can hopefully get away from their business.
The business owners might actually see.
Yeah. Oh, and the mayor and I are meeting tomorrow here in Shannon Mueller.
I have one question for you. As you go through Razor Drive and the intersection work, am I correct that we will be having public meetings to involve particularly the Razor Drive, the community around Razor Drive to be able to comment on those plans?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a process.
Good.
It's going to be a process. So anything we see out is going to be a process.
It's going to be more than a process. Is there anything else?
No, that's a lot.
Now we have report of mayor and council. On the mayor's side, the town manager has covered a lot of the items I had. We do have Clearwater Lofts coming up on the 21st via Zoom. It's a new add to the schedule. If you'd like to attend with me, you're more than welcome. Let me know. It'll be the Zoom link. All right. And we have the town manager and myself were invited to speak at the KNC annual member meeting on the 22nd of November. And Councilmember Sullivan, since he is a member of KNC, will also be attending. On the mayor manager meeting, the town manager mentioned the deportation concern. It's a very real concern by towns and businesses that if there's a major deportation effort, a huge part of the labor force in Summit County could suddenly disappear and businesses may not be able to open or operate. So there's a major concern about that, and just letting you know there's a concern. And any council members, what do you have? Councilmember will move this way and go this way. Councilmember Kerr.
So I think we were very pleased that the town responded positively to the ballot questions, and I wanted to point out not only that there was a lot to communicate that clearly, but I think the thing to remember is how effective it was that we communicated to everybody in the town what this was about. And I had everybody's back. The second thing is talk with council. I went with John Hagan on this, I guess, weeks ago. We had 2 members of the community. We had in 2 hours a very wide-ranging discussion about resilience and other priorities that we hope to emerge from the planning process. It included a discussion about the overlap between strategic planning for the town, the water district, sewer work. So we made obviously decisions, but it was interesting to see the deep interest in all that. And you can probably fill in the things I left open time.
The only thing I would add is that, one of the people pointed out the fact that there was a lot of, there's a lot of, questions that are up there, about the right planning for the future, and just that, we as council should be very, prudent to ensure that we are one rather than that, and I realize.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Yes, piggyback on the last comment about talking to council, the thought came up and we could brought this up. Meeting that might want to switch around some times, see if we can get better attendance, and maybe mix it up with a continue at the morning line once a month, and maybe switch to something like programs, but it works at 5 or 6 o'clock. And I guess people with some discussion whether that's something that's appropriate. That's the first thing. Is that general consensus? Mix it up.
Yeah, because I can't come in the middle of my workday. And I have a lot of my constituents. So if we want in the evening, then I'll come to one, and then the rest of the working folks might be able to come.
So my thought is that maybe the second, while we retain the morning, we think come January, I need some advertising. I don't know if the first Monday of January. Okay, no, we'll probably go with council required sign up for that. We do need,
Let's let me check on you. Let's just, I want to do it. I just want to make a day where I don't. I get things like 3 nights. But yeah, that's great work.
Okay.
5 or 6. 5 or, yeah, 6 is probably better for people who are from 7, like, here's with council.
okay, it's talking, we can change it up. But we will need some good advertising because we'll be switching it up. So it's going on in December, I'll volunteer for this, and I'll need a second. Right? December 2nd.
I can do this. Just like,
We probably get three.
I'll do the second.
the evening.
Yeah. What do you think?
Do that. So where is that? Okay. And we're ready. Is that it? Yeah.
Are we able to notice those, go, the evening ones? Just, I would also like to go to the evening one, if there's desire.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a 24-hour.
And that might be something to mention to Shannon tomorrow during the meeting, so they could push that out to our employees during their class. Oh,
That's it.
I just had a question. The October 8th meeting, we had talked about potentially bringing Garland and Co. To the council meeting to provide insight into their housing process. Did we reach out to them?
haven't reached out to them yet because they're, they are really have a lot of issues starting with recognition over at this moment. So I think later in the winter, especially after we get our understanding of how our housing is used.
Yeah, and it's also particularly problematic since they have no relationship to the town and have no business in the town.
But their employees do.
I understand, but it wouldn't surprise me for them to say no. Given the political nature of the problems they've had. That's it. All right, the other, Councilmember Davis? Do you have anything?
No.
Councilmember Corbett?
Yeah, we went to, West Hills.
West Coast.
Yeah, and we had a good discussion with them. And then I have two things to bring to the council, and they're strangely related, and I've chatted with one or two of you about it. But it involves access to our public lands. Our town is pretty much entirely surrounded by public lands. There are two extraordinarily alarming proposals that are unlike anything else that I've seen in this town that have been put out, one by the Forest Service, that's out for comment. The other one is already a decision that was undertaken by the county, which I'll put up front, I believe we should post, and try and get them to reconsider others. I'll cover the first one by the Forest Service is proposed to close Jones Gulch. Jones Gulch is that gulch that's to the east of Keystone Ski Resort between the resort and Independence Mountain. Basically, the entire flank of Independence Mountain, the entire gulch, all the way down to all of the neighborhoods down there and running along the neighborhoods all the way up to where the forest is on the road. All human presence will be banned for half the year.
Could you give us the dates?
That would be November 1st through April 30th. The justification is that even a single person might scare the bunnies. And if there aren't bunnies, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. This is actually what the proposal says. If the bunnies get scared, then the lynx might not. Lynx have ranges of over 100 square kilometers. But despite the fact that this area is bounded on three sides by an active ski area, and on the other side by neighborhood roads, there, I don't know, I don't get it. They admit that there's almost no human presence there anyway. You aren't supposed to enter it from the ski area. So it's this big question, like, if there's not a problem, then why are you trying to ban people? And what type of precedent are you trying to set? So I've sent you all an email. It has the link to the Forest project and the opportunity to comment on. There's, of course, some comments from people activist groups who are in favor of banning humans from public lands. That's what this proposal is about, and I hope that you will reach out to your constituents.
Was this initiated by somebody in our area in Keystone or just somebody from outside of the area of the Forest Service?
Now let's move to Timbercliff Meadows Open Space, also known as the landfill trails. That's the trail network that goes from the cemetery, the archery range, up and around the Craig Open Space, all the way up to the landfill road and the shooting range. And the active landfill sits in the middle of this open space. The county has decided to close that area to all human presence from December 1st to April 1st. I don't know, the primary justification is that we might scare the elk. They did a study and they saw during their study period that 4 elk had transited the area. And for this, they want to close Sage Trail, Buzz Trail, access to Oral Grand, Black Cliffs, also known as Pink River Bluffs, and then I believe there's another trail. County purchased this land as open space, spent money developing those trails, and now you can't cross-country ski, bike, hike, fat bike, snowshoe, or do any of those things. And that's already enacted. That's already in place. So they did a small study where they contacted a couple dozen people, but I don't believe really understood what they were asking. And that was used as the justification to close the trail. All the constituents that I've talked to who had messaged me and said, what the heck are these closure gates and signs about? Have been adamantly opposed. So I haven't met one person who's actually in favor of it yet. So I would ask you all to take this out to your constituents. Because I believe that with the significant amount of public input, the Board of County Commissioners, my business, that folks are actually looking at this closure, are very much wanting to access their public land that was paid for development with public monies. And then I would certainly question, just as I question the Bundy's justification of seeing 4 elk on a game camera doesn't justify closure of this sliver of public land that's surrounded by Highway 6 and the landfill. Because if you look at like one of those trails, it is literally on the other side of the fence from the landfill. You can drive a heavy truck there, but you can't walk on the other side of the fence. So that's 2 alarming issues that are strangely related that just happen to be right in our backyard.
Thank you.
Mr. Town Manager, is that something you could have a discussion with the county manager on, find out from their perspective what's going on?
Oh, that I will.
I'll send you the trail open space report fast. All of these.
Are there any other discussion items from the council? With that, we'll move into other matters. Anything else, Mr. Town Manager? Mhm. I have a couple of other matters I'd like to throw out. During the last public comment period in the last council meeting, we had a number of residents who requested that we allow public comment at the beginning of work sessions. I've been thinking about that and want to know your thoughts on should we consider allowing public comment during work at the beginning of a work session on any topic that is on the agenda of the work session. What are your thoughts? Councilmember Hagan.
Love the idea.
I'm actually for it.
I think it's vital for public input because as I stated earlier, if the other time it gets on the town council agenda, that ship is there. And so we really are purporting to be a council that accepts and welcomes public input. It needs to be during work sessions, not during town council.
Councilmember Kerr.
I concur with all of that. I think it's very important for us to hear from constituents. I think the council meetings themselves feel a little stiff, and people don't learn that there's great discussion at our work session.
Then can I have a thumbs up to direct staff to make a bylaw, draft a bylaw change? And the next item I have is just a question. Do we want to have a strategic planning retreat in January to address council goals for 2025 to help guide us through next year in our priorities as a council for next year? This isn't just for the strategic plan, but this is really what our council objectives are to try to accomplish next year.
So if I may, this would be pretty much an all-day event, council members and we will probably not hold it in the town of Keystone, but hold it in some other nearby facility or town. These are, every council I've ever had any dealings with conducts a retreat like this.
Councilmember Kerr.
Absolutely agree. This is very important way to get our head together as to what we want to pull off. But that will be in the details to the sketch. So perhaps we can, those who will have problems scheduling.
What I'd like to is ask the town manager to work with all the council members to try to find the appropriate date. I think trying to do it in this meeting would be a little problem.
Yeah, we'll sit down and do it.
I do have a question. How does that mean for the open meeting laws?
It is an open meeting. It will be a posted meeting. That's often why it's seldom
Understood.
Is there any other discussion on that? All right, that's all that I have. We're now ready to go into executive session. And can I have a motion, Councilmember Hagan?
I move to go into an executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6-002 and 4 to receive legal advice concerning the contract for law enforcement services relevant to the negotiation of the contract for law enforcement services, develop strategies for and start negotiations.
Is there a second? Councilmember Sullivan? Second. All those in favor, please raise your hands. All those opposed? Motion is carried by a vote of 7-0. I'd like to hold the executive session in council in the conference room. Maybe it'll be a little warmer. And
Time?
let's take would a 10-minute break be okay with everybody? 10-minute break?
Mayor, can you on the record?
Is approved, and we will be moving to an executive session. For the public, there will be no further action taken after the executive session, and no other business will be conducted. Town council would adjourn the regular meeting immediately after.